Hello, Eurus. Welcome back. Hey, we set up our fortress last episode. Now it's time to actually embark to it. So, we've saved our profile already. This is going to be our profile for no water start. So let's embark. It's going to prepare the map for us. We're going to listen to this very good jam. And we're already starting. Oh my. We picked this area because of the cliff. I'm so excited. I'm already seeing the cliff up here in the map. I'm so excited to check this out. The music stopping is a little foreboding, but that's fine. I see we've got some harvestable plants down here, so that's exciting. Dwarven Outpost. You have arrived after a journey through the mountain homes, or from the mountain homes into the forbidding wilderness beyond. Your harsh trek has finally ended. Your party of 7 is to make an outpost for the glory of all of it. Nertral. What a nerdy name for the mountain homes. I love it. There are almost no supplies left. But with stout labor comes sustenance, whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for your dwarves. You're expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you, but it is spring now, enough time to delve secure lodgings ere the black bears get hungry. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place, Dakostfôker, floor slip. Strike the earth. That's what we'll do. So we're going to pause immediately. We've got a nether cap wagon, so it's slicked out black paint, pimped out rims. We've got all of our gear is in here. Let's check out our stone setup. So first thing, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, because this is like my preferred magnification level, I guess you'd say. And we'll do this. So we're going to look at our map here. I see that we have like shale. Oh, that's pretty interesting. We're getting up into the really mountainous regions with these really stony ground. But we do have our cliff here. You can see that it goes a few Z levels down. And it's a very, I would say it's a pretty shallow cliff. It's not as steep as you might expect. But we have this like nice shape here. And I'm sure it looks like something. Like you can tell there is definitely a shape here and then some sort of growth coming off of that shape. So we're going to ignore that Z level for the most part. And we're going to build start our fortress here. I don't even think we will go down any Z levels to start unless... Let's see how deep down this goes. I love the added grass textures. It looks like genuinely wild growth. There's so many harvestable plants as well. Yeah, let's check out some of our tree give outs. Let's see. We got persimmons, chestnuts, pecans, a lot of nuts, cherry trees. There we go. Pecans, walnuts. Pretty much got everything a dwarf could want. Bayberries, cherry trees. Okay. We will. I think this is a good a spot as any. To really get started. Hold on. Is it loam here? So this should all be loam as well. Well, it's good to know. We can come down here. We can get like a starter farm kind of going. Very inefficient. Crops tend to grow better in caverns, which it'll tell us later on. But we'll get started up here. And I've already seen this is the perfect spot to crack into the mountain here. I'm going to start mining. And I want to set these up to do these as a priority. We're going to make a choke point hallway. And then expand into a working hallway. Which is just something that I do to set up workshops and like stockpiles early on to get everything out of the wagon and into the mountain. But even before we start doing this, let's check to see if there's any creatures. There's no creatures. There's no black bears. We're safe. Eventually, we'll want to set traps around our map, just kind of randomly, to try and capture some black bears, because they are war trainable, and I want a contingent of black bear war animals. Now, for this layer, we do see like iron ores, hematite. We love to see it. On frequent, even, I'm feeling like we're seeing a lot of iron ore, so it's good. We see shale here, more hematite, and then as I'm sure as we go down, we'll see others. More hematite. Yeah. Okay. So what I would like to do, I actually messed up my original plan here. So we've got these set to be mining 1. I don't want them all to be mining 1. I actually want them to be 4s, except for a straight path. Oops. Except for a straight path. So the 4 as well. Right to here. And so we're going to make our central hallway. And I'm like, Toby, this is not a central hallway. This is a staircase. What are you talking about? Yes, a hallway and a staircase are kind of technically the same thing. And I messed it up already because I want these to be level 1 priority. And you know what? We'll even go up. We'll give this shape some dignity up here. We'll make something good out of it. But for now, we'll focus our mining dwarves. One will dig this tunnel straight down. The other will kind of mop up the mining spots. And then once they get to the ladders or the staircase, they will go down. And we're going all the way down to Z level 30. So it'll be 30 above sea level. Yeah, so let's start the simulation. And we'll just watch them go. A little bit, we won't really need to do much. Honestly, I'm pausing again. I've already said it once, but I'm going to mess things up. What we're going to do, we're going to designate some trees to chop a little further away from the fortress, because we want to leave a lot of our fruiting trees closer to the fortress up. I'm moving Z level by Z level, just because you can run into some goofy things can happen if you try to have a dwarf chop down a tree that's not, the trunk isn't on that Z level. I don't know if that's been fixed, so I'm going to keep to my old ways and make sure I'm designating safe areas. We want to get as many trees chopped down immediately, just so we don't have to deal with elves and their restrictions later on. I'm not sure if we'll receive elves anytime soon, but like I said, let's just, plan for the future and not have to deal with those leaf munching something or others. So we'll leave them at. And we have great area here as well, honestly. I think this is going to have to be our food gathering area, which we'll set up now. Zones are. I'm going to read through all these tutorials with you. If you're new to Dwarf Fortress, this is going to be how you learn. I'm going to teach you. So zones are areas you designate where your citizens will work, socialize, rest, or perform specific duties. There are several kinds of zones, which you can see in the panel to the left. Zones are placed much like stockpiles. Unlike stockpiles, multiple zones can overlap. Certain zones like bedrooms can be placed several at a time. Just make sure you have the correct furniture placed in the rooms with doors or vertical entries, separating each room before you begin, which is an interesting thing. I like this idea of having bedrooms that don't have doors, maybe hatches, and then you go down a hallway and you go up sets of stairs to get to your room. I think that would just be a fun design challenge for us to have. And then we'll have like things like our temples and guild halls be our single floor entrances, or maybe we'll go with stairs too, because it'll make more sense if they design all of their things to be the same. So I'm going to close that out. Don't show it again. We are going to gather fruit. And we don't want to set a huge area for this, because if we do, it'll be the only thing that our gatherers ever do, which we don't want. It's overkill. Oops. It's overkill to gather too much fruit. I did save. Okay, so they're set to gather all the fruit. We'll go into our labor. And work details are very important to setting up your dwarves' labor system. And you can mess the game up pretty severely if you don't do it correctly. I've had times where my entire fortress stops hauling items around because I set it to only designated people haul things around and just mess things up completely. Yeah, we'll set this up here. Work details are one way you can uh, control which workers do which tasks, and the and they are the only way to assign certain tasks like mining, woodcutting, hunting, and fishing. Generally, almost every task will be available for every citizen. You can both restrict both citizens and tasks. Citizens are restricted by using their specialization button. Tasks are restricted by setting their work details to only selected do this. If a task does not have a default work detail, you can create a custom work detail. Once you assign citizens to the task, you can then set only selected do this if you want to restrict it. All right, so we have pretty much everything we need now. We want to set only selected do this. And we want to make our farmer an herbalist. Uh, Now, if we wanted to make our farmer also only haul food, we'd have to set up a separate work detail. And you can see all the stuff is broken down here. If you can see, woodworking is a top level thing. So woodworking encompasses carpentry and crossbow making. So we want to make sure that we have this set up. We're going to call these ones, obviously, the woodies. So that'll be that group. Our skilled carpenter, our glorious leader, will do this. Only the expedition leader will do wood cutting and carpentry. Um, he's the only one also capable of doing wood cutting because he's the only one with an axe. So that's fine. So we want hunters. We have 2 proficient marks dwarves. For some reason, still a fisherman. I believe he probably has like 1 level of fisherman that I just missed. That's fine. What we're going to do, we'll just take fisher dwarf off so it doesn't do it. So our hunters will, when they get them available, they'll pick up crossbows. We have trees being cut down, so our next project will be wait for the dwarves to clear out a space so we can set up a workshop for making our bow. So we'll just watch them go. As I said, these are going to be moving so fast. You see the cat zipping around, already just ignoring a 2-legged rhino lizard. We've got all the rest of our dwarves are still kind of milling around here. Let's see. So they're already felling trees, already gathering plants. These ones have no job. So what they'll be doing is once we have enough space for a stockpile, they're going to start hauling everything out of the cart and put it into the mountain. We struck some sard, which has been mined up. And it looks like sard that was in the middle of hematite, which is pretty neat. Oh, I was like, why did they carve that? And I realized it's that's where the greater hall began. You can see that the dwarf is kind of picking random um, tiles here. It's based off of, I believe, like its location as the program scans down for tiles to mine, and the how close the dwarf is to it. So we'll probably see it fall into a loop of where it'll mine this, and then it'll come down back here to finish these off. But it doesn't look like it's even doing that, so that's interesting. Now, it got to the 1 designation, so it can begin doing all the 1 work, which is mining up. We see more hematite, so we are going to be set for iron. That is for sure. And we'll follow our dwarves down until they reach a level where we run into an aquifer, because we will need to begin our construction of our drate, or great, or drate. What the fuck am I saying? We'll begin the construction of our Dwight. No, just Dwight. Okay. What I'm gonna do? Let's just focus. We're gonna follow our mining dwarves. We got bituminous coal. Excellent. So, once we get to, oh no, what's going on? Cherrywood log strikes the expedition leader in the upper right leg. Slams into an obstacle. Oh no. Did our woodcutter seriously injured immediately? Oh no. Oh, that's not good. They're satisfied after felling a tree. Their ability to stand has been lost. This is not great. We may have our first casualty pretty much immediately. But what we can do, I don't even know if it's going to work. We can set up a meeting area. Let's make it like right there. Just right in the open hallway. We're going to make this a hospital. We're going to hope for the best. So we're going to unpause the simulation. We'll see if anybody... recover wounded. Perfect. Okay, so they're going to bring the wounded up to the surface. The unfortunate thing is we don't have access to water yet until we get down into... Oh, damp stone located. Perfect. Until we get down to this level where it starts on... Looks like... Also, is this? Magnetite. We love to see magnetite. So it looks like it starts on Z level 83. So we have some downward facing stairs here. We're not going to worry too much about this, the staircase. Right now, what I'm going to designate is our area. Just kind of surrounding our staircase for general usage. So do this. Designate all that as 1. As soon as this wounded is recovered, our miners will attempt to aid them. What I'll need to do immediately, set up a workshop. We have wood, thankfully. So we need to go to labor. The woodies need to be everybody does this. Because when woodworker is wounded, they won't be able to do it. Especially with their ability to stand lost, we don't want them chasing wood down right now. So we're going to need a carpentry workshop. We don't really have a great space for it until they mine more things out. So let's just do it there. We'll do sandstone because it's the closest. Then we'll let the simulation run again. Immediately building it. Excellent. Here comes the wounded. No, that's the stonecrafter. We can check on... They're making their way back up. Okay, so they're almost there. I'm freaking out a little bit because I wasn't expecting our woodcutter to be wounded so early. So we've got this set up. We need to immediately make a bed. 1, make that done. I'm not even worried about a manager yet because we just need a bucket. 1. You know what? I actually need to clear out these designations because I went too high. What I wanted to do was go down here. The lowest level, we'll leave it. They'll come down and mine these. And we'll run a little channel just to tap into the aquifers so that we don't have to worry about it being too much. Of course, it went up. Okay. That's okay. That's fine. We'll just cancel it. They'll come back up and they'll finish it later. The wounded is delivered to the hospital. Another miner is making wooden buckets. I actually just want you guys to only mine. And then we want to noble. Okay. So we need to set up a chief medical dwarf who's going to be our miner. Then we go to our hospital. We add our doctor is the chief medical dwarf. Our diagnostician is the other miner. We want our surgeon to not be the woodcutter because they are wounded, but be our hunter, the peasant that rescued him. And then we will have the stonecrafter be our bone doctor. I don't know what's wrong with them. We'll have to have a diagnostician check out the patient before we do anything. However, we have to make the bucket in the bed. The miner's going to do the first bucket. That is fine. I'm not going to stop him. I was freaking out for a second. I was like, why did this happen? I've already forgotten because I'm too worried about the miner. Okay, the bucket first. Just because we want water. Also, I need to set up... We can hit H to bring this up. We'll set up a zoom to this level. And then we'll go back up to this one. I want to zoom here. Here, more likely for our entrance. We still have everything here, which is fine for now. There are chinchillas. We're not worried about chinchillas. Now, if they're giant chinchillas, we'd be worried. But generally speaking, regular-sized chinchillas are not a problem. And so what do we want to do here? We want to channel down in a pleasing spot. So we want to do kind of dead center. Let's just dig a channel like that. And we will expand on that later on when we build our Great Dwarven pump stack. Let's go up here. The hospital, we need a bed. He feels guilty after being able to rest and recuperate. That's so sad. He was relieved after being rescued. Ability to stand is still lost. So that tells me we will need a crutch, a splint. You're going to realize I don't know how to spell either. So a crutch, a splint. We'll need to set up a workshop. The easiest way to get thread right now is going to be a farmer's workshop, so set that up. And we will shear some animals to make thread. Once we have a little more space, we'll create a loom to make thread and cloth for the hospital. Now we also need... We're going to set up our mason's shop as well. Just because we will need a chest, and I don't want to waste wood on a chest. There's millions and millions of stones in this mountain. There's only so many trees. So we have a bed. Let's make our furniture. Set the bed right there. It's a persimmon bed. Good. Once the bed is created, the injured dwarf will rest in it after he wakes up. He's currently unconscious, which is fine. So we've created our bucket. Let's go back down here. Immediately already full of water. That's what we want to see in our heavy aquifer. So we will dig the rest of this out just so we have access to all this water. Please don't step into it immediately. I believe it'll fill up immediately. Oh, perfect. All right, so we have access to some nice fresh water. We want to create a zone. We're going to make this our water source. Accept. So that's the nice thing about having this heavy aquifer. We know where it starts, just in this area at least. We may run into it later, but we'll deal with it later if we do. Get some clay stone, some sandstone. I love the magnetite. Magnetite's going to be another huge iron source. Kaolinite is clay. I was hoping for dolomite is also like this pink color, just so we'd be able to make steel. But we'll figure that out later. I'm pretty sure we had flux stone. It's probably going to be very deep in the ground. Probably closer to sea level. If you do have it. If you don't have it, then we'll stick with iron and we will do what we can with what we've got. So let's have you make a chest, which is going to be a coffer. Do it immediately. Add task. We're going to shear animal. Repeat, do it. Spin thread, repeat, do it. I'm going to shear the animal first, obviously, though. So we're going to bring the creature in. Also, we do want to set up a pasture out here. So everything's a little hectic right now with the wound happening. But this is Dwarf Fortress in action, I tell you. So our horned cave beetles are grazers, as well as our cart pulling animals and all of our ewes. All of our sheep are also grazers. They need to be out in grass. They need to eat that. Once we have access to caverns, we'll have access to hopefully fungus. There's a small chance we won't get funguses, but that's okay. We'll burn that bridge when we come to it. If we don't get funguses, then our animals will generally have to stay outside, which is unfortunate during sieges and things, because there's a very good chance they could starve. But there are some workarounds that we could do to create grass underground. So you've made your coffer. We're going to build that right next to the bed. There we go. The hospital's going to want some of this yarn. They'll automatically move it. And we'll be good to go. As soon as that chest is built, that's when they'll do it. I love getting a good yarn industry up immediately. Where's our wounded? Just still in the same spot, sleeping on the ground. Okay. No water source. We do have a water source now, so hopefully that stuff stops. Need empty bucket. I'm assuming. Where did my bucket go? Oh, it's in there. Okay, so they're gonna get that bucket now to get the water source. You have an empty bucket. Please go get the water. You have an empty bucket. Oh, they need. Because the hospital has it, they can't get this bucket. So let's set that to 0 buckets desired. See if that fixes it. Okay, it did. Or maybe it didn't. You know, let's just make another bucket. We're going to need more buckets anyways. Just give me another bucket immediately, please. All right. You know, I mean, we're coming up on runtime here. No water source? We do have a water source, though. What do you mean, no water source? I can't do that. So let's go to, I believe it's in standing orders. Other refer zones for water drinking. Drink water only from design zones. I mean, this is a water zone. You can get in here and get water, so I'm not sure really what's wrong. Maybe it's because there are ramps. So let's dig another channel here and this here. I'm not a big fan of losing some of this magnetite to this, but we'll get our pump stack going and eventually pump all this water somewhere else if we need to. I was afraid you'd gone into that water and drowned immediately, you fool. Okay, so it's still got the downward slopes. So I'm gonna mine this one first and then do this channel. That way they have a spot to step out onto. I really don't want to mess up and lose a miner here either. So dig your channel. Don't. Oh, please don't. Okay, hold on. We gotta cancel this one. Okay, there we go. You gotta watch on those because they would literally dig that out from under their feet. Okay. So we've got this set up. What may need to happen is we might need to get a well set up. But I don't really want to do that. We need chains too, so we can't. I mean, we have everything we need to start our metal industry, but to make a well to try and get a water source going is a little annoying. So instead, we're just going to hope that this is good enough for them. You know what? It doesn't extend onto the ground. There we go. I kind of like having this pool down here, honestly. It's a little offset, but that's okay. Maybe what I'll do is I'll expand it. You know what? Yeah, let's do that immediately. Let's just do it like that. They can mine that. We'll check on our wounded. Still unconscious. We spent a lot of time paused. They are resting. They are assigned to do stuff. So, oh, we got cleaning patient. Have they done the diagnostics? Wounds. Has been sutured. Oh, okay, so they're already on. Okay. I love that. Okay, let's read through this real quick. Brought to rest, evaluated, had right upper leg set by the bone doctor. Evaluated. Receives sheepwool sutures on upper right leg. Received walnut wood splint on right upper leg. Okay, they're good to go. They're healed. We're already. Our quick thinking saved the day. So do like this setup. Let's do it like this. Gotta watch for if they're mining out from. Yep, immediately. Already fools. Nope. Thankfully went up to drink before nope. You know what I'm gonna have to do? There we go. I'm gonna have to do it like back first. So let's do that. That way they're not trying to kill each other. That's all I'm trying to do. And maybe I'll keep these episodes maybe 30 minutes long while we're in the fortress, because time really flies when you're having fun here. We have a nice, clean pool of water to drink from. They did, I believe, they had no problem getting the bucket. Let's expand the zone. Oh, cancel. There we go. Actually expand this zone. There we go. Set. So I keep saying no water source. Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Also, let's make a loom. Just to start processing all this yarn we're going to have. Oh, that's right, it's in clothing. So let's do it right next to it. Do it on sandstone, that's fine. Yeah, we have a very decent start to this. There's a pile of loam on the ground. What the fuck does... Why do you have a... I guess it's the loam dust that came off of him. I don't know, man. There's a wolverine. A slightly dangerous animal. Would love to capture some wolverines because I believe they're also trainable. But as our last action, what I want to do... Go back up. Redesignate our central staircase. Like so. To stay in line with what we have at the bottom. And from there, we will go level by level and decide what we'll be doing with it. But thanks for joining me. I'll see y'all in the next fortress.